Whispers of Forgotten Love. The biggest little city in the world.
Presented to you by Hugglesby Stories.
Emily and Jack discovered a metal box beneath the stone, engraved with W&M and a heart symbol. Inside, they found a collection of letters and documents. The paper was brittle and brown with age, but still readable. The sight of the documents filled them both with a sense of triumph. At last, they had found the answers they had been seeking. They found a set of documents, yellowed with age, suggesting that William had stumbled upon a plot involving betrayal among the soldiers. It seemed he had tried to warn others. Emily felt a surge of grief and anger. Her aunt's love story had been destroyed by the betrayal and secrecy of military personnel in William's army. How tragic would that be? Who had betrayed William and why? Among the papers was a journal belonging to William. Emily's hands shook as she picked up the journal and began to read. William had written about his growing suspicions and the secret mission he had been involved in. He described how he had discovered a plot to steal valuable military documents and sell them to the enemy. The documents revealed all information about the plan for selling military information to the enemy. There were letters, written records of discussions, and names of people involved. William had tried to warn his superiors, but his warnings had been surprisingly suppressed somehow until that time. He had then turned to Evelyn, who was working as a nurse and had access to military seniors, for finding a way to transfer that information. Together, they had planned to expose the traitors. Meanwhile, Cartwright had also supported them. But William had understood his support for the task was not because he really wanted to do something against it, but rather as an act of affection towards Evelyn. There was enough evidence to determine that Cartwright was William's best friend in the camp. Evelyn and Cartwright had immense care for each other. William wrote about meeting Evelyn and Cartwright at St. Mary's to provide evidence of betrayals for handing over to a senior military officer. William had feared that he would be harmed before he could act. That might be the reason he had stored all the detailed copies of the evidence this way, most probably, at least to be found by someone else if he failed in the process. He mentioned there that he feared someone close to him was working against him and had tried to lure him into a trap. His final entry was a plea for Margaret to forgive him, hoping she would understand why he couldn't return to her if it happened so. He ended the journal with a promise to love her forever, no matter what happened. Emily felt tears welling up as she read the journal. She could feel William's fear and desperation, his love for Margaret, and his sense of betrayal. The truth was even more tragic than she had imagined. William had been caught up in a web of deception and had paid the ultimate price. Emily wondered who had betrayed him and if they had ever been brought to justice. As they left the location, Emily took one last look at the stone-carved W&M in a heart symbol. Actually, she and Jack placed it back in the same place before leaving the site. Emily and Jack had a relaxing evening and dinner together, reviewing the story from beginning to end. They thought that the next morning they would go to the local police station and submit all the evidence they found. They had a good sleep after many tiring days. The following morning, Jack received a telegram from one of his friends in the USA. Quite eagerly expected information by both Jack and Emily. There was good information on Cartwright. In Seattle, Jack's friend had discovered that Lieutenant James Cartwright, now a successful businessman in his late 50s, was living there. His friend provided the exact details of Cartwright's home address, business office, and information about his family. Lieutenant Cartwright has 4 children, all of whom are currently studying. The Cartwright family is well respected in the community, known for their good reputation and ties to military service. Lieutenant Cartwright's wife runs a charity dedicated to helping elderly people with psychological issues, using her education, knowledge, and experience to support the charity's mission. Originally from the UK and a former wartime nurse, her name is Evelyn Cartwright. Emily was astonished by this revelation. The life that Evelyn Cartwright was living, a successful businessman for a husband, a respected family, and a meaningful charity, was the very life her aunt had once dreamed of. Neither her aunt nor William had been fortunate enough to experience it, but Evelyn had found it. Tears welled up in Emily's eyes as she thought about how her aunt had missed out on this happiness. However, Emily quickly resolved not to disturb the lives of the Cartwrights. She wished Evelyn and James all the happiness they had found, even though it was a life her aunt could have had. According to William's account, there was no reason to believe that either Evelyn or Lieutenant Cartwright had betrayed him. They had simply been good friends. Emily found solace in this thought. deciding to leave the past in peace and hope for nothing but joy for the Cartwrights. Now what to do? Jack and Emily discussed how they should act on this information. They finally decided to remove all the letters, photos, and other information related to Evelyn and Cartwright. Not to disclose anything related to the conspiracy, but to avoid any unnecessary questions to them by the police at a later stage of the inquiries, which would happen after they submit evidence to the police station. They arrived at the local police station in the afternoon. Emily felt a sense of urgency as they entered the building. After hearing their story briefly, the front desk officer made a call, and soon they were escorted to the head of the police station. Inspector Thompson was a tall, stern-looking man with sharp eyes. He was the head of the police station. He greeted them with a curious look. "What brings you here?" he asked, motioning for them to sit. Emily didn't waste any time. "We have evidence of a conspiracy involving high-ranking officials in wartime. We need your help to expose it and bring those involved to justice." Inspector Thompson's expression turned serious. He listened as Emily and Jack explained everything that had happened, all about their discovery of William's letters. Anyhow, Emily and Jack both were so careful to avoid mentioning Cartwright's and Evelyn's names there. As Inspector Thompson listened to Emily and Jack, his face darkened. When the recording finished, he looked up at them. "This is serious," he said. "If what you're saying is true, this could go very deep. I'll need to launch an immediate investigation with advice from my superiors." Emily felt a surge of relief. They had done it. They had finally done something that could do some justice for William's sacrifice. Margaret's sacrifice of her dream and eventually her health and her life. Inspector Thompson made a few quick phone calls, giving orders to start an immediate investigation and to begin gathering evidence. The investigation went on for a few months. Emily returned to London for work, and Jack resumed his studies as usual. Meanwhile, a lot of officers who were still living in the country and in the USA, with the support of police departments in various states, had been identified, questioned, and some arrests had been made. Slowly but surely, the network of lies and deceit that had been hidden for so long began to unravel. Eventually, one day, both Emily and Jack were called to visit the police station to meet Inspector Thompson. Inspector Thompson looked at them, his expression serious but relieved. "Thanks to you both, we've managed to expose a serious conspiracy. William and Margaret's story will also be known, and those responsible will face justice. You've done a great service, not just for them, but for everyone." Emily nodded, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. She thought of William and Margaret, of the love that had endured despite the lies and betrayal. They had given everything to protect the truth, and now, finally, that truth was being honored. Emily had a light smile and a good deep breath of light happiness by remembering her and Jack's decision on keeping Evelyn and Cartwright out of these inquiries. The life they must be living happily there in Seattle now. As they left the police station, Emily and Jack stepped out into the cool evening air. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the town. Emily turned to Jack, feeling a wave of gratitude. "We did it," she said softly. "We really did it." Jack smiled, taking her hand. "Yes, we did. And we did it together. William and Margaret would be proud. They would be happy and proud, especially for what we did for Evelyn and Cartwright." Emily felt tears in her eyes, but they were tears of relief and joy. She looked up at Jack, feeling closer to him than ever. They had faced so much together, and through it all, their bond had only grown stronger. She knew that, no matter what the future held, they would face it together. As they walked through the town, hand in hand, Emily felt a sense of peace. The truth had finally been uncovered, and justice was being served. William and Margaret's love story had not been in vain. It had led to the uncovering of a dark conspiracy against the country. Emily knew that their love would always be remembered, a symbol of hope and resilience. In the modern day, Emily is sitting on a couch in the garden of her home near the stunning blue waters of Lake Tahoe, which offers a picturesque blend of natural beauty and urban charm. They live in Reno, often called the biggest little city in the world, which is situated in northwestern Nevada, nestled at the base of the Sierra Nevada mountains. Emily is having her grandchildren around her and telling the story. The grandchildren were engrossed in the story. They showed they were emotionally enjoying it. Their children and grandchildren have come to see them. Emily and Jack have had a 60-year-long lasting marriage together with love and care, starting in the 1960s. Today, it is Jack and Emily's diamond anniversary. Let's wish Emily and Jack long and happy lives.
I hope you enjoyed the story. Feel free to share your thoughts or reviews under each episode. You can explore more interesting and enjoyable stories on our channel. If you'd like to stay updated with new stories and enjoy those, please subscribe. Subscribe to Huggles by Stories. Have a great day and see you again soon. Goodbye.